This lesson today is simply about identifying opportunities in the world around you. What I'm going to do today is challenge you to think in a way that hopefully will make you notice opportunities all the time. This is the way entrepreneurs really think. They look at problems, they look at opportunities, they look at needs, and they look at problems, they look at needs, and they say, there's an opportunity here that I can take advantage of, that I can actually serve. And this is the basic concept. If there's no need and there's no problem, there's really no reason for a business to exist in the first place. So what you need to do is understand truly what the need and the problem is, or the problem is that you're trying to solve, and that will lead to an opportunity for you to take advantage of it. So as you're doing this, as you walk around in your daily life, I highly recommend you just keep a book, a running log of all the opportunities that you see, the problems that you see in people's lives or in certain businesses, the needs that exist. Just keep a running tally of it. And some of the ideas will be great, some of them won't be so good, some of them you want to throw away or forget right away. But it'll be very interesting in the end to see how your thought process progresses as you're looking at these opportunities. So what we're going to come back to today is the key question that you're going to be asking yourself is, what is the problem solved or the need addressed? We're going to follow up those questions later with how important is that problem and what's actually the best way to respond to it in a way that solves it. But that's for another discussion. That's really when we get into the business planning side. For this point, it's just opportunity identification, seeing what opportunities are out there. And let me say before we even get started that there's always, the reason why we're doing this is because there's always going to be lots and lots of ways to respond to any given problem. There's not always one right solution. There's usually hundreds of right solutions. And if you see in the business world, there are many, many competitors trying to solve the same solution in very different ways. So at this point, don't worry about what the ultimate solution is. Just worry about what the problem is. We'll define that clearly, and then we'll figure out, we'll go through a process later about how to solve that in the most efficient and effective way possible. So the first thing we're going to start with is doing some brainstorming. We're actually going to get you to think about some of the problems and needs in your daily life, in your community, and in businesses. So the first thing I want to talk about is in your personal life. What are some needs or problems that you see that if they were solved would be really, really important and valuable to you? Hope you have one or two. Maybe you have many. I'm going to throw out one as an example in case you haven't. One might be communication. How do you communicate with your friends, family, and other people that are important in your life? There's lots of ways you can do this. Again, we're not talking about what the business solution is yet, but for example, your answer could be, oh, well, phone, texting, Facebook, Twitter, blogs, write a letter. There's just lots and lots of ways you can communicate, and none of them is necessarily better than the other. They all have their pros and cons, but communication is potentially an issue that you need to resolve. If it's not being served well enough, then it maybe is a bigger issue, or a bigger opportunity. Another one might be transportation. How do you get around? Just general transportation in your life might be a problem. If the buses are not on time, if it's not cheap or easy to move from place to place, there would be an opportunity there to create a business or an organization that improves transportation. Again, there's lots of ways we could do that, but you could sell a car, you could create a train service, a bus service, carpooling, car rental, short-term car rental, walking shoes, bike repair, bike sales, all kinds of things will help improve transportation. But at this point, we're just looking at transportation as the problem itself, and we'll go in later and diagram really what the essence of the problem is in transportation. So what I want you to do is stop right now, pause this video, and spend a few minutes and write down the problems and needs that you see that are really pressing and important to you in your daily life. Simple as that. Okay, next, what I want to do is talk about the needs in your community. So this is a little bit different than just your personal need, maybe on a bigger scale, but a bigger need might be, here's an example, access to healthy food. If a community doesn't have access to healthy food, that's a really important problem that should be solved. And there's a lot of ways, again, you could do that. You could be opening a community garden, a grocery store, a fresh fruit and veggie truck, a farmer's market. Any of those would help solve that problem. But just identifying it in the first place is really, really important. So think about that. What's another one? Maybe safe places to play. That might be a problem in your community as well. Or low property values. That might be a problem. Again, each of those has multiple ways you could respond to it and create a business or an organization to achieve that goal. But defining it clearly and understanding what problem you're trying to solve is the first step. So pause the video again and spend a few minutes trying to answer that question. What are the needs and problems in your community that you wish would be solved? Okay. So now, what we're going to do is we're going to look at businesses. We're going to look at the needs and problems in businesses and how you can solve them. There's two different ways we're going to have you think about this today. So the first way to think about it, of a need or a problem in a business, is improvements to an existing product or service that they offer. So what do they do? What is wrong with their current product, a product that you use maybe every day that you think could be improved? Does it not have a feature? Does it not work right? Is it not simple? Is it not small? What would you change about the things that you use day to day that would make it better? So an example of that might be Blockbuster Video. Really successful business. They had stores all over the country. People would go there, rent their movies. Everyone didn't really see a problem with it. It worked. The problem was to keep the stores open, to staff them with people, to buy DVDs, and to require people to come to the store are all suboptimal situations. They cost a lot of money. They take a lot of time and effort, and it takes people time to get there. So an improvement to that model might be to streamline it and not make people come to a physical store. And that has a lot of benefits. One, you don't have to actually buy the store. You don't have to buy as many DVDs because you have them in a central warehouse. Not every store has to have their own. You don't have to hire as many staff. You can send them directly to people. And then even better, when the technology catches up, you can stream it directly, and it requires no buying of DVDs. So that's actually what Netflix did, and they have this better model. They improved the system that Blockbuster had by creating new technology and organizing it in a new way. Another example that I'll give is Startup Core. Business plan writing is an industry. Helping people learn how to write business plans is an industry, and that's a good thing that's being done. It's exposing people to business, and it's getting more people to build some of the fundamental skills and understand what business is about. But the way we look at it is that you don't learn as much when you execute a plan. There is a problem. There's a need here. Not just the high-level idea, but the need is to get real experience when you're actually starting a business. So this is why we challenge you to actually go start your business. And we support you as you do it, because the learning experience is much improved when you actually go out and do something rather than if you just sit and think about it. So the reason why I'm going to tell you again to pause this video is to actually go do something. Go and think about this and learn and critically examine the world around you. So what businesses do you see that currently exist that could be improved? Is it like Startup Core, improving business plan writing to include actual execution? Is it Blockbuster to take physical stores and, or is it Netflix to take physical stores and make them more digital and easier to distribute? What is your way to improve an existing business? And finally, what we're going to do is talk about borrowing ideas from existing businesses that have worked in different industries and bringing them into your area. So, for example, what I mean by that is if the idea is convenience is a problem, people coming physically to your store is a difficult problem you're facing. You want to get more people to be able to buy it. Convenience might be the need. It needs to be more easily accessible to buy for your customers. So that need has been solved by other industries. One way that they've done that is through delivery service. So a company even that wouldn't normally deliver, companies will start delivering because that convenience, that is a need that people are willing to pay for. So for example, groceries. Many other grocery stores have been doing delivery service for people that can't come to the store or don't have the time to come to the store, and they're willing to pay a premium for that. Fast food does that. They deliver. In New York, McDonald's delivers because they have to compete against all the other stores, and it gets them access to a larger customer base. Car companies do that with Enterprise. Amazon delivers with their books, and they put major book retailers out of business because of that. So they've added this new idea of distribution and integrated it into their business. Another one might be high cost of salespeople. If you have a product that you have to send out lots and lots of people to go sell, and every time you sell one item, you don't make a lot of money, you just make a small amount, it's a lot of effort to make a tiny amount of money, and it might not be worth it to pay salespeople what they're worth, because people are expensive. They're good. Good people are expensive. And if they're not selling huge quantities, it doesn't quite make economic sense. So what you need to do is think about trying to integrate other systems to reduce that cost. One way to do that might be a simple vending machine. Other companies have done this, where they took the idea of a vending machine that snacks would be sold in. They added drinks. They added coffees. They added photo booths, adapted this technology, and said, look, we don't need to have a photographer that we pay. We'll just set up a photo booth and let you do that. So you can take ideas from existing businesses and integrate them. So I want you to pause it for the final time. This is the fourth list you're making. And write down ways that you can take existing ideas in other businesses and integrate them into your business, or into an existing business. Great. So now what we've begun to do is build this list out of needs and problems in the community, in your daily life, and in businesses that you can look at and try to improve. And this basically is the opportunity piece. If you see a need or a problem, that means there's an opportunity there for you to build an organization or a business that can serve that need. If you do that and people are willing to pay for it, you have a very viable model. So at this point, we're not thinking about what the solution is, how you're actually going to solve that problem. We don't know how big the opportunity is. We're going to get into that. We're going to figure out what the quantity is, how big of a problem it is, how important it is, how complicated it is later. And then we'll also say how we actually going to solve it. But at this point, just think about that problem and the need. Everywhere you go, everything you do, think, what is the problem? What is the need here? What is not, and what is the opportunity that I have presented to me? So for class tomorrow, for class, what I want you to do is bring these four lists. And I'm going to review them right now. So the first is your personal needs and problems that you face. The second is your community needs and problems that you face. Third is existing businesses that you can improve. And fourth, existing products and services you can improve. Or fourth is borrowing existing business models and bringing them into a new business. Those four things, I think if you think about them regularly and consistently, you'll have all kinds of opportunities that seem to emerge in front of you. Some of them you may want to take advantage of, some you may not, but that's really the way entrepreneurs think. They're always looking for that opportunity in front of them.